moved into this apartment last winter, one of those decisions you make when you've had enough. Breakup, job burnout, new city. Everything in me needed a reset. I found the listing on Craigslist, a studio on the 12th floor, rent surprisingly low, decent light, quiet street. The landlord was in a rush to close. "It's high up," he said. "You won't hear anything but the wind." He was right. It's high. The building next to mine barely reaches the 6th floor. There's a parking lot below, a couple of dead trees, and not much else. When I first moved in, the silence felt like a luxury. The kind of silence that makes you feel like no one knows where you are, like you're finally out of reach. The days started blending fast. I work remote now, mostly editing transcripts for a legal firm in Chicago. Long hours, screen glow, bad posture. Coffee at noon, dinner at midnight, or not at all. I kept the lights low, just a lamp by the desk. The sound of keys was replaced by the occasional gust of wind knocking against the glass. That window, it's huge, floor to ceiling, takes up almost the entire wall facing east. No balcony, just a clean drop. At night, with the lamp behind me, the glass becomes a mirror. You can see the whole apartment reflected back at you. It was during one of those nights that I first noticed something off. I was scrolling through my phone, music low, barely there, when I thought I saw movement. Not in the room, in the reflection. A shift, a dark flicker. My first instinct was that someone had walked behind me. I turned fast, but the room was empty. Still, I stood there, frozen, waiting for my breath to come back. Then I realized it didn't come from behind me. It came from outside the window, from the other side of the 12th floor glass. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because the alternative was something I couldn't afford to process. Maybe it was a bird. Maybe the shadow of a plane passing too low. Maybe just tired eyes and a flickering lamp. Still, that night, for the first time, I pulled the curtain shut. The next morning felt normal, almost forgettable. But I started avoiding the window without really meaning to. I stopped sitting on the couch that faced it. I turned the desk lamp down lower. I found myself listening more than watching, waiting for something I didn't want to see. Little things began to stack up. The elevator light flickering every time it passed my floor. The hallway motion sensor staying on longer than usual. A weird draft near the kitchen. Though the windows were sealed shut, I didn't feel unsafe, just seen. And there's no one up here to see me. No balconies, no other high-rises, no way to reach this window. At least not that I know of. I started keeping the curtains closed all the time. At first, it was just at night, but then I noticed something else. Every time I left them open, even for just a few minutes in the morning, I'd come back to the room and feel like the light had shifted. Like someone had been there, not visibly, but emotionally. The way a room feels different after someone stood in it too long. I stopped using the living room altogether. I moved my laptop setup to the corner near the kitchen, facing the wall. I told myself it was just better for concentration, less glare. But deep down, I just didn't want to sit near that glass anymore. I couldn't bear to see my own reflection at night. I was afraid it might not move exactly when I did. One night, I woke up at 3:48 a.m. No reason, no noise, just that horrible clean kind of wake up where your body knows something your brain doesn't. I walked out to the kitchen for water, didn't turn the lights on, and I swear, the moment I passed the curtain, I felt it. Not saw, felt. A pair of eyes, from the outside, watching, locked on me from somewhere high above ground where nothing should be. I froze, water still in hand, just breathing, waiting for something to move. The streetlights below flickered, a faint buzz from the fridge, but nothing else. Still, I didn't open the curtain. I couldn't. The next morning, I called the building management. I asked if anyone had access to the window cleaning rig. They said it hadn't been used since October, 2 months ago. No maintenance, no inspections, no one out there, and yet, I started checking the glass every morning, looking for handprints, smudges, anything. Most days, nothing. But once there was a faint mark, a single long streak across the middle pane, like someone had slowly dragged their fingers across it. From the outside. That same week, my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. When I listened, I almost dropped the phone. It was a recording, faint but unmistakable. The sound of my apartment, my footsteps, and the click of the lamp behind me turning off. I hadn't touched it. I started sleeping with the hallway light on. I know it sounds childish, but I didn't care. It made it easier to wake up without feeling like the dark was swallowing the room. I avoided mirrors. I kept the curtains closed, but still, I felt it. Some nights I'd lie awake and feel like someone was just outside the window, not watching exactly, waiting. That word stuck with me, waiting, not moving, not calling, just there. Then came that night. It was raining, not heavy, just a cold, wet noise that made everything sound distant. I was on the couch, laptop closed, no music, no lights but the hallway and the curtains. For some reason, I'd left them open. I don't know why. I honestly don't remember doing it. I just looked up, and they were open. And there was a face, pressed lightly against the glass. No breath, no motion, and just eyes looking in. We stared at each other for what felt like a full minute, but it didn't blink. It didn't move. It didn't even react to being seen like it had been seen before, many times. My body didn't respond. I didn't scream. I just stared, waiting for it to do something, anything. Then I blinked, and it was gone. No sound, no smudge, no footsteps in the hallway, nothing. I stayed up until sunrise. I didn't sleep, didn't move. And when I finally got up to check the glass, there was only one thing left behind, a small scratch, just one, in the lower corner of the pane, shallow but deliberate, almost like a mark or a name. I haven't touched the curtain since. I don't sit near the window. I work from the kitchen, keep my back to the wall. The management says the building's secure. No one has access to the outside glass, but I know what I saw, and whatever it was, it knew where I lived, and it didn't come to hurt me. It came to remind me that I was never truly alone, not even up here. I started sleeping with the hallway light on. I know it sounds childish, but I didn't care. It made it easier to wake up without feeling like the dark was swallowing the room. I avoided mirrors. I kept the curtains closed, but still, I felt it. Some nights I'd lie awake and feel like someone was just outside the window, not watching exactly, waiting. That word stuck with me, waiting, not moving, not calling, just there. Then came that night. It was raining, not heavy, just a cold, wet noise that made everything sound distant. I was on the couch, laptop closed, no music, no lights but the hallway and the curtains. For some reason, I'd left them open. I don't know why. I honestly don't remember doing it. I just looked up, and they were open. And there was a face, pressed lightly against the glass. No breath, no motion, just eyes, looking in. We stared at each other for what felt like a full minute, but it didn't blink. It didn't move. It didn't even react to being seen, like it had been seen before, many times. My body didn't respond. I didn't scream. I just stared, waiting for it to do something, anything. Then I blinked, and it was gone. No sound. No smudge, no footsteps in the hallway, nothing. I stayed up until sunrise. I didn't sleep, didn't move. And when I finally got up to check the glass, there was only one thing left behind, a small scratch, just one, in the lower corner of the pane, shallow but deliberate, almost like a mark or a name. I haven't touched the curtain since. I don't sit near the window. I work from the kitchen, keep my back to the wall. The management says the building's secure. No one has access to the outside glass, but I know what I saw, and whatever it was, it knew where I lived, and it didn't come to hurt me. It came to remind me I was never truly alone, not even up here. The next morning, I stood in front of the intercom and stared at it for a long time. I wanted to press the button, just to hear the buzz, just to know it was still a machine, but I couldn't do it. Something about it felt personal now, like it had become a mouth, like pressing that button would wake it up. I tried to shake it off, work, emails, grocery lists, anything to remind me that I live in a world where weird things don't happen. But that sentence, that voice, it kept looping. Do your best, love. That's all the stars ever do. I hadn't told anyone about that phrase, ever. There are no recordings of my mom, no letters. She never posted online. It was hers, ours, something small enough to be invisible, which is why hearing it again didn't just scare me. It broke something. That night I had a dream, or what I think was a dream. I was in my old house, the one I grew up in. The wallpaper was peeling, but in the exact pattern I remembered. The kitchen window was still cracked, the way Mom used to tape it in winter. Everything smelled like vanilla candles and dust, and someone was pressing the intercom button, again, not buzzing, just pressing. I woke up with the sound still in my ears, only it wasn't fading, it was still happening. The real intercom was active. The red LED was on. I stared at it from across the room. It wasn't buzzing, just glowing, as if someone had pressed it and held it, waiting for me to answer. But I didn't move. I didn't go near it. And after exactly 27 seconds, the light went off. No footsteps outside and no message left. But when I turned around, something stopped me cold. On the fridge, written in dry erase marker, was a sentence I didn't write. You used to hum when you did dishes. I loved that. My knees gave out. I sat on the floor for over an hour. I hadn't told anyone about that, ever. And she, my mother, had said that once, in passing, during a fight. I barely remembered it until now. But someone did. Someone remembered what I forgot. I didn't leave the apartment that weekend. I told myself it was the weather, or work, or exhaustion. But the truth was simpler than that. I was scared that if I stepped outside, someone would follow me back in. The intercom stayed quiet. No buzzing, no light. But I kept checking it anyway, just in case it did something again. By Sunday night, I was exhausted. Not from doing anything, just from holding it all in. I sat on the floor of the kitchen, back against the fridge, eyes on the door. I tried to remember the last time I felt safe. Not calm, not distracted. Safe. And I couldn't. I must have fallen asleep there because I woke up to the sound. A whisper, right behind the door, not loud, just enough to pull me out of whatever kind of sleep I was in. It wasn't a voice I recognized, not male, not female, just tired. You left the light on. I didn't move, I didn't breathe, because they were right. The hallway light, the one outside my door, was on, and I never turn it on. It's motion sensor. It only activates when someone walks by. But it hadn't gone off, not in hours. I stayed there, frozen, until the light finally dimmed. When I finally stood up, I did something I hadn't done in years. I opened the top drawer by the fridge. Buried underneath batteries and receipts and 2 expired Tylenol bottles was her handwriting. An old sticky note, faded. Do your best, love. That's all the stars ever do. I don't remember keeping it. I don't remember ever finding it after she died. But it was there, and it wasn't old enough to be 15 years untouched. The glue still held. I left it there. I closed the drawer. And that night I slept with the lamp on, the hallway light off, the door locked 3 times. Not because I thought someone was coming, but because someone remembered where I lived, and they weren't trying to scare me. They were trying to remind me of something I've forgotten. I'm not the only one who remembers her, and not all voices come from the living. I installed the cameras after the 3rd break-in on my block. Not mine technically, but close enough. Same floor, same layout. The guy across the hall had his door kicked in at 3 a.m. He wasn't home. I was. I heard it. Didn't move, just listened. Next day, I bought 2 indoor cameras, basic Wi-Fi ones, set them up in the living room and kitchen. Didn't tell anyone, not even Julia. They run 24/7, store everything for 7 days. I check the footage sometimes, just to feel ahead of things. The apartment's small, living room, open kitchen, bathroom, 1 bedroom. I keep it clean, controlled. Everything has its place, and that's important, because when something moves, I notice. Last Thursday, I got home around 9 p.m. Nothing unusual. Keys on the hook. Shoes off by the door, lights on, 1 by 1. Routine helps. I microwaved leftovers, sat on the couch, opened YouTube. I didn't feel anything strange. No cold air, no sounds, no smells, but I couldn't focus. Kept glancing at the hallway, like something had been there. So I opened the app, pulled up the camera from that day. Most of the footage was normal. Empty room, shifting light, shadows from the street. But then I saw it, 8:14 a.m. to 2:17 p.m. Someone, a figure, was standing in the center of the living room. Not walking, not swaying, just there. No face visible, no movement, not even a blink, just standing. For 6 hours, I kept scrubbing back and forth, trying to find the moment they appeared. Nothing. One frame, the room is empty. Next frame, they're just there. And then they stay, and stay, until 2:17, gone. Same way they arrived. No door open, no shadow moved. They just ceased to be. I didn't sleep that night. I just kept rewinding the footage, watching that person, thing. They didn't move, not once. No shift in weight, no flicker of breath, just arms at the sides, head tilted slightly down, like they were listening or waiting. I checked the footage from the kitchen camera, thinking maybe I'd see them from another angle. Nothing, no figure, no shadow. From that angle, the room was empty. It didn't make sense. One camera sees them, the other doesn't. Same room, so I did what anyone would do. I called support. Probably a glitch, they said. Maybe an image artifact from a power surge. But it wasn't an image. It had depth. It blocked light. I watched the sunlight change behind it. You can't fake that. The next morning, I set up a 3rd camera, this one above the entry door, angled to catch the full room. I didn't tell Julia. I didn't want her asking questions. She already thinks I'm too cautious, but she hasn't seen what I saw. The cameras kept recording, and for 2 days, nothing. I started to relax, almost convinced myself it had been a fluke, a glitch, a file error. I almost deleted the footage. Then Friday night, I got the notification. Motion detected, living room, 2:09 a.m. I was in bed, alone. I opened the app, and there it was again. Same figure, same spot, arms down, head lowered, but this time something was different. They were facing the camera, not moving, not blinking, just facing the lens, like they'd realized I was watching. I froze, not from fear, from recognition. The posture, the tilt of the head, the height. It looked like me. I didn't tell anyone, not Julia, not my brother, not even online. What would I say? Hey, my camera showed someone in my apartment for hours, and I think it was me. There's no way to explain that without sounding unstable, so I did what I always do. I tried to verify. I replayed the footage frame by frame, looked for glitches, flickers, anything that would suggest compression errors. There were none. The figure cast a shadow, reflected light differently than the furniture. It occupied space, but the face, it wasn't clear. It never is. It's always angled just enough, like the cameras are being avoided or obeyed. Sunday night, I set all 3 cameras to record in infrared. Higher contrast, no chance of shadows playing tricks, no noise, no blur. At 2:12 a.m., all 3 cameras froze, exactly at the same time, only for 2 seconds. Then they resumed. I checked the footage. During those 2 seconds, the living room was empty, but on the floor, right in the center of the rug, was something new. My keys. I keep them on a hook by the door. Always have, and always. I checked the footage before the freeze. They weren't there. After, they were. No sound, no movement, just a new object where there wasn't one before. That's when I stopped watching the cameras. I left them running. I just stopped checking, because the last thing I want to see, the one thing I can't handle, is me, just standing there, not moving, not blinking, not leaving. I don't sleep much anymore, not since the move. The apartment's fine, quiet, top floor, clean. Nothing wrong with it, and that's what makes it worse. It's the kind of place you'd expect to rest in, and maybe that's why I can't. I go to bed around midnight, but I'm always awake by 3. No dreams, no nightmares, just open eyes. The first time I heard the music, I thought it was a neighbor. A melody, soft, distant, like it was bleeding through the walls. Low piano notes, slow and simple, no vocals. It wasn't familiar, but it felt close. I checked the window, nothing. No lights in the other buildings, no cars, just the song. It played for about a minute, then stopped. I didn't think much of it at first, until it happened again. Next night, same time, 3:13 a.m. I looked around for a source. My phone, my laptop, Bluetooth speaker, smart TV, all off, all disconnected. No alarms, no apps running, but the song kept coming. Same notes, same rhythm. Always at 3:13. I tried recording it once, sat in the dark, phone in hand, ready. The audio picked up nothing, but I heard it, clear as anything. After the 4th night, I stopped trying to explain it. Now I just listen. It's the only sound I hear in this place, and honestly, it's starting to feel like a memory. It's been 11 nights now, same melody, same moment. 3:13 a.m. The song never gets louder, never changes, but something in it feels different each time. Sometimes it sounds sad, other times expectant. Once it made me cry. I don't even know why. I've tried everything. Reset the router, unplugged every device, even flipped the breaker for the entire apartment. Still played. No source, no signal, just those keys, just that rhythm. I even called the building manager. He looked confused, said no one had reported anything. Then he asked what song it was. I couldn't answer. There are no lyrics, no title. I don't even know how to describe it. Just notes, like the sound of forgetting something important. That night I didn't go to sleep. I sat in the hallway, lights off, phone recording again. I didn't hear the music from the living room this time. It was inside the bedroom. Same melody, closer. I didn't open the door. I just sat there, back to the wall, watching the light under the door shift ever so slightly, as if someone walked past the lamp inside. When the song stopped, so did the light. I opened the door. The room was cold, and on the bed, Was my phone unlocked? Open to the voice recorder. There was no audio file saved, but the battery had dropped 8%, and the screen time said the recorder had been running for exactly 1 minute. 3:13 a.m. to 3:14. I stopped checking the time. I figured, what's the point? It plays when it wants, and I always know when it's coming. My body wakes up before the melody starts. My heart beats slower. My ears ring slightly. It's like my whole body recognizes something I've never remembered. It's been 19 nights now. The music never skips, never fades, never fails. But 2 nights ago it changed. At first I thought I was dreaming. The notes were the same, but there was a second sound. A voice, faint, under the melody, breathing words I couldn't understand. I sat up in bed and the song stopped, like it knew. Last night it came again, same time, same voice. But this time, I listened, and I heard it. Come back. I didn't move, I couldn't. The song kept playing, softer than before, like it was moving away, like it was walking down a hallway I couldn't see. When it stopped, I sat there in the dark for a long time, until the sun came up. Then I checked my phone. A new file had appeared in the voice recorder. No title, just a timestamp, 3:13 a.m. The file is silent, but when I play it, I remember something. A day, a person, a loss, something I must have buried so deep, the sound is the only thing that knows where it is. I don't try to stop it anymore. I leave the door open now, just in case it comes closer. If you listen this far, then now she knows you did. Leave a like. Maybe it's just superstition, or maybe it's the difference between remembering and being remembered. Comment something, even just a single word that came to mind. Sometimes it's the silence that draws them in, and if you leave without subscribing, that's fine. But if she comes back tonight, don't say I didn't warn you.